in a world where werewolves and humans uneasily coexist. I was just a humble baker's daughter, known for my kindness, but not much else. My life was simple, filled with the scent of fresh bread and the warmth of the hearth. That all changed on the day of the annual slave auction, a cruel tradition our town clung to despite the changing times. I despised it, the way it stripped people of their dignity, treating them like property. I usually avoided the town square on that day, but this time a friend dragged me along, insisting I needed to get out more. And that's when I saw him. He was a werewolf, tall and powerful, even in the heavy enchanted chains that bound him. His silver hair was matted with dirt, his clothes were rags, and his body was a canvas of fresh and old wounds. But his eyes held a defiant fire that captivated me. They scanned the crowd with a cold fury, a silent promise of retribution. He was an alpha. I could feel it in the air, a raw, untamed power that made the hairs on my arms stand up. The auctioneer began the bidding, his voice slick with greed. The crowd jeered and tossed insults, but the alpha remained unbroken, his gaze fixed on some distant point. The bidding started low, a mockery of the life being sold. Men laughed, placing bets on how long he would last as a gladiator in the pits, or a guard dog for some wealthy merchant. My heart ached with each bid. This wasn't right. No living being deserved this. I looked at the meager pouch tied to my belt. It held my entire savings, a handful of copper coins I had saved for months, hoping to buy a new baking pan. It wasn't much, just 7 coppers. A pathetic amount, really. The bidding climbed higher, reaching a few silver pieces. It was far beyond what I could ever afford. Desperation clawed at me. I couldn't just stand by and watch. As the auctioneer was about to slam his gavel down for the final time, a sudden, reckless impulse took over. I pushed through the crowd, my voice trembling as I shouted. I bid 7 coppers. A hush fell over the square. Then laughter erupted. Loud, mocking laughter. The auctioneer stared at me, his face a mixture of disbelief and annoyance. 7 coppers. Girl, are you mad? That's not even enough for his chains, he sneered. My face burned with humiliation, and I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. But then something incredible happened. The alpha, who had been silent and still throughout the entire ordeal, slowly lifted his head. His piercing golden eyes found mine in the crowd. The fire in them hadn't diminished, but something else was there now. Surprise, curiosity, maybe even a flicker of something softer. He held my gaze, and for a moment, the jeering crowd, the smirking auctioneer, everything else faded away. It was just the two of us, connected by an unspoken understanding. The auctioneer, flustered by the unexpected interruption and the alpha's sudden attention on me, slammed his gavel down in frustration. Fine. Sold to the foolish girl for 7 coppers. Take him and be gone. The guards roughly shoved the alpha towards me, tossing a key for his chains at my feet before stalking off, grumbling about the wasted opportunity. I knelt, my hands shaking as I fumbled with the heavy lock. As soon as the chains fell away, he rose to his full, intimidating height, towering over me. I took an involuntary step back, my heart pounding in my chest. What had I done? I had just spent my life savings on a powerful and likely very angry werewolf alpha. He could tear me apart with a single swipe of his claws. But he didn't move. He simply watched me, his expression unreadable. He flexed his wrists, the skin raw and bleeding where the enchanted metal had burned him. Without thinking, I reached into my satchel and pulled out a clean cloth and a small tin of salve I always carried for kitchen burns. "You're hurt," I said softly, my voice barely a whisper. "Let me help." I expected him to refuse, to push me away. Instead, he slowly extended his hands towards me. I gently took his large, calloused hand in mine and began to clean and dress his wounds. He didn't flinch, didn't make a sound, but his intense gaze never left my face. When I finished, he still didn't speak. I don't have a place to keep you," I stammered, feeling foolish. I can single quotes own you. You're free. I expected him to leave to disappear back into the wilderness he came from. He was an alpha. He had a pack to lead, a life to reclaim. But he just shook his head, a slight, almost imperceptible movement. Then he spoke for the first time, his voice a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through my very bones. You saved me. Not with money, but with courage. You saw a person, not a beast. He took a step closer, and I had to tilt my head back to look up at him. The setting sun cast a golden glow around his silver hair, making him look like a deity from an old legend. My name is Fenrir, he said, and I am in your debt. I shook my head quickly. You don't owe me anything. I just did what was right. Fenrir's lips curved into a faint smile. A sight that was both terrifying and breathtakingly beautiful. In my world, he murmured, his voice softening, a life debt is sacred. You stopped the gavel for me. Now I will stop the world for you. Before I could process his words, he gently took my hand. Ah! The one that had just tended his wounds, and brought it to his lips. He pressed a soft, lingering kiss to my knuckles, his eyes closing for a moment. When he opened them again, the golden fire was back. But this time, it wasn't just fury. It was possessive, protective. It was a promise. From this day forward, he declared, his voice ringing with the authority of an alpha, you are under my protection. You are mine to care for, mine to defend. You claimed me with 7 coppers. Now I claim you with my life. He didn't mean it in the way the townspeople own slaves. He meant it as a bond, a sacred pact. He wasn't my property. He was my guardian. And I, the baker's daughter, who had never been anything special, was now claimed by the most powerful alpha in the territories. My simple, quiet life was over. I had spent 7 coppers to save a stranger, and in return, he had laid his entire world at my feet. I didn't know what the future held, but as I looked into his fierce, devoted eyes, I knew I wouldn't be facing it alone. A new chapter of my life had begun, one filled with danger, passion, and the unwavering loyalty of a werewolf alpha. And it all started with 7 copper coins and an act of reckless compassion. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video.